Hey, how's it going, guys? It's James with the Project Esports podcast, presented by the Game House. This is now the fifth video I've done in regards to, I think fifth, yeah, in regards to the free agency period for League of Legends. I've just now discovered that I don't have to actually keep headphones in, so that's really convenient on my end. So bear in mind we're moving into we're passing the weekend right now for free agency, so it has seemed to die down a little bit. It seems like most of the major moves kind of happened on Friday, and then it'll probably pick back up on Monday. That being said, we have seen some movement. Whether or not we see anything slated for Sunday, maybe leaks, maybe the only thing we might see. But other than that, that's about it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm not too sure how they're going to conduct free agency, if they're working on like a purely business format, like business week format, or they're just going to be carrying on throughout the weekend, which wouldn't entirely surprise me either. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. We're going to start with over in Korea. I've kind of gotten to the point where I break this down by regions now. I've finally got like a system. I've finally got some fluidity. So So the first team we're going to talk about is Team Battle Comics. Kind of a meme name. Don't understand the logo. What I do understand, though, that these guys have made it through the Challenger Series for Korea, because they, of course, still do have the Challenger Series implemented, whereas both NA and EU have moved to franchising. With these guys made a breakthrough in there. They were actually a pretty terrifying team coming out of there. That being said, though, one of the players that was a big factor in them actually getting through the Challenger Series was Soar. So Soar is actually no longer with the team now, and he's been replaced by a guy by the name of Wizard. This of course isn't Wizard. This is Soar. But it's weird because Wizard is I guess allegedly amateur player who basically just went through the team recruiting process and was slated for a good fit. Where Soar is he was a big reason why they made it as far as they did. If you look at these guys, Katie Hayes, he has a crazy gangplank. I think he was 9-1 for the 2018 series. It was disgusting. So why they decided to part ways, I'm not too sure. There's not too much on it, and of course, myself, much like many others, aren't fluent in Korean, so the articles that we're working with as far as news from over there don't really get too in depth about it, and we're just running off Google Translate. That being said, yeah, Sora is no longer with the team, and it'll be interesting to see where he goes, because I feel like this is a guy that could be picked up by a bigger LCK team and totally do fine. He was a reason some of the teams got eliminated. So I mean, this guy he's definitely a heavy hitter, and he's a new heavy hitter. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I'm gonna keep an eye on him because I feel like this if he continues on the way he's going, we could see him in the Khan status. I don't think he plays as scary as a dominant playstyle as Khan, but I mean, this guy is consistent and he's good. So yeah, I want to see where he gets picked up, if he gets picked up at all. I don't know. It's off season. Who knows anymore? The next we're going to move over to MVP and Yondu, previously Beyond. Yondu has decided to stay with MVP. MVP is, of course, a staple in LCK. They're like the gatekeeper team. If you can be better than MVP, that's great. But they do well enough that they keep the lower teams out of there, like Kondu Monster and stuff like that. But these guys are like I said, the gatekeeper team, much like MMA and stuff like that. That being said, Yondu's decided to stay with these guys. Maybe it's the organization. Maybe he really likes them. I'm not too sure. He was slated to be a bit of he was a really good up and comer, and then he just stuck with MVP. I mean, once again, to reiterate, I like franchise guys. I like guys who stick with teams, and Yondu's the definition. Whether or not it's best for his career or not, I'm not too sure. But dude's playing consistent. He plays consistently on the same team. They know him. He knows them. His performance just isn't phenomenal. But I mean, he's mediocre. He's a decent player. So that being said, it's always interesting to kind of pay attention to these B tier teams to see what kind of movements they do, if there is anything crazy or standout-ish. Yondu's decision to stay with them, it doesn't really surprise me. So he's just gonna I mean, they're probably gonna stay a B tier team unless they rebuild the roster around him. And maybe look to enable this guy. Maybe you see him back into the form he I guess we used to be. That being said, Maha has moved into coaching. I think Maha's kind of getting up there. So maybe again, these little adjustments, maybe we might see some better performance out of MVP. We'll see. Moving on over to NA, that's going to be where a good portion of our video today is going to be focused on. We start with contracts. Contracts, of course, was the prodigy jungler that came in for C9, was an absolute beast. And then I don't know what happened. He decided to part ways with Cloud9. I guess it was totally his decision. Back in the day, I don't know whether or not that's the truth or not. Who knows? But yeah, Contracts has been on the Golden Guardians for this past season. I mean, he's not the reason they're losing, but he's not the reason they're winning. He looks fine. Like, I mean, I don't have too many bones to pick with Contracts. I know he gets a bit of a bad rap, but that being said, though, he is staying with the Golden Guardians. So I mean, so far for that team, we're looking at basically him and potentially Pole Belter. So we could see, you know, this might be the beginning of Pole Belter or like Golden Guardians kind of rebuilding their brand. They of course are using Coach Nero now. Coach Nero was previously part of Echo Fox. Yeah, like he's a decent coach. Like, so I mean, we might be seeing the Golden Guardians kind of rebranding themselves. It'd be interesting to see. Speaking of guys that are coming from Echo Fox, though, we have Smoothie, who has been locked in with TSM, which is gonna like that sends enough shockwaves as a whole. So it makes you question what's Echo Fox doing for a bottom lane. What's going on with TSM's bottom lane? Sven and Mithy, much like other European ADCs or bot lanes, kind of stick together. So, is there a chance that Mithy's gone and Sven isn't? Maybe. Maybe Mithy got a crazy offer and Sven didn't. But I mean, we'll kind of see that. Like, I mean, it opens up the import slot. But I mean, like, that means they're looking at maybe a top laner or a jungler, because Bjergsen, of course, isn't going anywhere. And I don't think he's actually an import slot anymore. I think he's actually a native, or he's not native, but he actually has residency. So. Yeah, I don't know what major moves they'd make with keeping Sven and ditching Mithy, but I mean, something tells me that they're going on the side of ditching both of them. Now, whatever that means, I'm not too sure. I'm kind of curious to see who they put in that slot where those two occupied and to kind of lane with him. There's no, like, I mean, we're starting to run out of options. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. So, yeah, I'm going to keep my eyes glued to TSM, despite the fact I am a Counterlogic fan. I do like to see what's going on with TSM and how their inner workings there. I'm like obligated to be a TSM fan now because Zix is over there. But, yeah, no. Moving on, though, on to Counterlogic. Tristan, Power of Evil, is now a part of the Counterlogic. He is confirmed. He basically said in his announcement video, there's like a lot of you guys that already know that I'm over there. So, I mean, like, the rumor mill just basically blew open, and I think he was fully aware of it. So, yeah, Tristan, or other Stixay, is now slated to be along that roster. This he's been kind of considered like the kryptonite of some of the NA mid laners. That was the big hype around him and Bjergsen, and he was the kind of guy. He's unorthodox enough that he shuts people down. So with him working and I guess staying true to Counterlogic's namesake, we might see some crazy stuff. I'm interested to see what Weldon does with this guy. I'm also interested to see how he molds with the rest of the team. We're still not sure what the rest of the finalized roster is looking like for Counterlogic. So, he might get along really, really well with Rainover and Darshan, Stixay, and Bio, but that's still to say, like, if that roster is confirmed. There's a lot of rumor mills going along, and this seems to be more like fan theories more than anything really created, that, you know, Wiggly would be coming in, or somebody else would be coming in to take over Rainover, because it seems like everybody wants Rainover's head. But for the time being, we do have, we got Power Evil in the mid lane for these guys. So I think it's a solid pickup. That being said, nobody knows what's going on with Optic. Nobody knows. That team is like, I mean, the organization itself had major layoffs. I think they laid off something like half their staff or something like that, which, like I've spoken with Andrew about this, and I think we've talked about this previously on the podcast. That kind of happens with this crazy stuff. They bring in everybody on to kind of get the expansion settled and stuff like that. And okay, we're here, we're good, we're settled, we get everything sorted out. We don't need anybody anymore. That being said, though, we haven't seen a roster. We haven't seen anything out of these guys. I'm a big fan of Acadian, so I'm interested to see who he goes. If he stays with Optic, what kind of happens with them. Yeah, we'll kind of see. But for the time being, there's our tentative roster at a CLG. The only unknown has now been secured with Power of Evil. So yeah, we're going to go from there. Next, we have in the rumor mill that DeMonte. In my opinion, like a B tier mid laner, like consistently average, has, I guess, allegedly slated for Clutch Gaming. That would round off the roster of Hooney, Lyra, Demonte, Piglet, Vulcan. Not bad. Not a bad mix. Not a bad group. Don't know if that's going to be the thing though, because I mean we still have yet to see whether or not Lyra. I think Lyra's contract is still confirmed, so whether he gets bought out or something like that, who knows? But yeah, no, that like if this rumor is confirmed, that means we kind of have the whole spiel for these. So now we're starting to slowly see these rosters round out. Whether Demonte I think came in like midway through the season with Phoenix, I'm pretty sure is what kind of happened with that whole nonsense. So he was kind of like, I don't think he ever got fully settled. So I mean, if they have all offseason, all preseason to really prep with this squad, we could see good things. I'm interested to see what kind of happens to DeMonte as a player, because I mean, some of these guys do have like slow starts and they build up and they build up. So maybe that's the case with him. Moving over to Europe, and the only thing that came out of Europe is Edward. Edward, I guess, is slated for Rogue. Rogue is one of the new franchise teams over in Europe. Rogue, guys, what are you doing? What are you doing? Edward is somebody you pick up for the nostalgia factor and hope to acquire his fan base because of that. Do I think this guy's the reason why Gambit was winning? Maybe, possibly. But this guy looked like, I mean, if you watch him in Worlds, he looked like more of a liability than anything. Like, I mean, he's past his prime. Does he still dominate lower regions? Absolutely. But I mean, he had a team like Steos, Kira, Diamond. I mean, Diamond's another one, but I think I still consider Diamond Procs like a step above Edward, being as far as players past their prime. So I think Rogue kind of picked him up for the fan vote, just to kind of get their names like, hey, guess what? We get Edward. Like, everybody remembers Edward. Everybody knows Edward. So I don't know. I don't totally agree with this. I don't like this. This isn't a good move, but he's there, and Rogue made it official. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen there. Moving on to kind of continue the spree of players that aren't going anywhere and are confirming it. Freeze is one who's since posted and acknowledged the fact that he wouldn't be playing in the LEC, which is weird to me because you have Edward on one hand and you're not taking Freeze. I don't know. Anybody remembers Freeze is like he's been around in the European LCS. He's been around in the North American LCS with Renegades, who were like hit with a slew of problems. But I don't think Freeze is really that issue. That was more of a managerial side of things. Freeze he's a decent ADC. He's not horrible. He's known for his Draven. I loved him on Copenhagen way back in the day. He's confirmed that he's not picked up by anybody. So he's looking for lower regions as well as academy teams. Maybe with franchising he gets out on an academy team, and that's great. That's awesome. Then he can work his way up. But Freeze is another guy that's slowly moving past his prime. Hopefully he gets picked up. I feel bad for the dude because he's definitely a good player. He's fun to watch. But the other one that I think is a shocker but not a shocker is Cody Sun. Cody Sun confirmed that he wouldn't be playing with an LCS team. He's since looking for other regions and academy teams. Cody Sun was kind of hit with like a barrage of bad luck with 100 Thieves. Now there's a lot of stuff going on with that, whether or not it was him, whether or not it was Prawley, or after the whole debacle of him being told not to show up and Ricaro would be filling in for him, like to tell the dude not even to come to the studio and stay at home. Like there's a ton like they're like. And I think that's what's kind of scaring people is that there's so much drama and past issues associated with Cody Sun that we haven't seen him picked up by anybody. These guys who are historically problem children or who have problems associated with them, either with management or one way or another, have seemed to kind of fall to the wayside, like I mentioned yesterday with like Gilius and stuff like that. So that kind of leaves the big question of guys like Cody Sun, does that mean guys like Dardoch too? Dardoch there hasn't been really anything vocal about Dardoch and where he'd be going. I guess Echo Fox has allegedly gotten rid of him. He's a free agent. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets signed or he's another guy that they just say no to. Does that mean we're starting to dip into amateur pools and stuff like that? Because both Cody Sun, yeah, he's had some bad performance, but he's also popped off. He's also been absolutely terrifying. So. And the same thing with Dardoch. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what's got franchises so scared to pick these players up. But that being said, nobody's really feeling acquiring these guys. So all the best for Cody's son. I'm assuming he'll probably get into a lower region and just clean house, and maybe he'll go to Latin America or something like that, and just run train on the region. That being said, though, to kind of round off this episode, there was one tweet I noticed this morning that kind of went out about 4 hours ago from Ocelot. Ocelot basically going on this big tweet about sacrifice and basically wanted to progress with success and stuff like that. And a lot of people feel like this was aimed towards Hajarden and Woodid. Woodid has previously gone on record basically saying that he wouldn't, he's only going to play with Hajarden. So with all this talk of Caps going over there and Perks role swapping to ADC, that by the sounds of it is Hajarden and Woodid basically leaving. So maybe with this whole big switch and stuff like that, maybe Mithy's going back and he's going to be playing with Perks and Caps going over there, which again is just such a gong show to me. I don't understand why it's happening. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, if or whether or not it's the truth. That being said, guys, and just to I'm kind of putting myself out there and going on record, and I don't mean to condemn the podcast or anything like that, but it seems that Locodoco's predictions and stuff like that have been wildly inaccurate. He was the one who basically predicted that PoE wouldn't be going to CLG. So if you are looking for rumors and these videos have kind of made you want to kind of stay in tune with that, stick with Jacob Wolf, stick with Fion. I think I'm saying his name right, or their name right. I don't know if he uses a pronoun or anything like that, but or they use a pronoun. But yeah, no. Stick to that stuff. There's a lot of stuff that gets chucked out on the subreddit. There's a lot of nonsense. There's LS trolling CLG by using all the graphics for his stream. I don't and this is, and you know what, to me this is kind of, I don't like that. I wish that the personalities and the people in the scene would take it seriously, and we're not kind of seeing that. We're seeing guys that are enjoying the fact that they can screw with fan bases and stuff like that. I know there's the whole fan logic thing, and because everybody has a platform now to vocalize how pissed off they are or how excited they are about movements, it seems that a lot of personalities are pissed off with how the fans react. They're fans. You don't have to listen to them. You don't have to acknowledge them. We're stoked or we're angry one way or another. Was I pissed to see Hui leave? Absolutely. Do I have a platform for it? Yeah, sure. But to just actively go out and start irritating that community because it's entertaining, that to me just shows how immature of a fandom we are. So if you are enjoying these videos and you are watching them, guys, just stick to sources who carry themselves professionally, and enjoy that, because that's where you see the fun stuff. That's where you see guys who are in this business and in this realm, and they conduct themselves seriously. So stick with those guys. That being said, though, I'll make a tweet one way or another whether or not a video will be going up for Sunday. If there's some crazy stuff, then of course there's a video, but I'll keep you updated one way or another. But yeah, that does it for today, and have a good one.